Oh, by the way, everybody, the movie hasn't started yet.
Yeah.
In case you were wondering, um,
Check the timestamps.
I okay there was a topic I had to bring up, dude.
Mhm.
We were talking last week about the Mandela Effect. Um, for those who don't know, real quick, the Mandela Effect is basically a group shared group experience or memory that is false. Essentially, it's a false memory that multiple people hold.
Mhm.
Named for Nelson Mandela, who at some point, large groups of people believed died in prison in the 80s, which he did not. And it's since, the Mandela effect has appeared in many other forms. Um, you know, you guys can go look up examples of it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to rehash it,
Yeah,
but
Nelson Mandela really died from eating way too many of those, like, Haribo gummy bears. That's the real
what?
reason. Like, he just in one sitting, he just kept going. His wife told him, like, "Nelson, please stop." Like, he just kept going. That's the real reason.
Yeah. That sounds. I just like I'm just picturing him with like a bowl, dude. His wife
Please
in
stop, Nelson.
tears, just begging. Yeah. Um. So I found the craziest Mandela effect. This one I cannot explain. No one can explain it, and it's the craziest one. No Mandela effect is going to top this, and it is. I have a question that I need the audience to sit with for about 3 seconds, 5 seconds, especially if you grew up in the 90s or lived through the 90s. A question to you, audience, is do you remember a movie from the 90s called Shazam starring the comedian Sinbad? And I'm
Mm,
going to let the audience I'll let the audience sit with that for a second. This movie does not exist. There is a movie from the 90s that does exist called Kazam
and it's with,
starring
Shaquille O'Neal.
Shaquille O'Neal.
Yeah,
Yeah, Shaquille O'Neal
yeah,
playing a genie.
yep.
But people
Could have been a film
swear,
flame, one.
yeah, it's apparently so bad, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, people swear up and down that they have seen a movie from the 90s where Sinbad the comedian plays a genie.
I have no
Now,
idea.
I had to look this up. And the amount of memories that people have of this movie are insane. I mean, dude, like I clicked on a video on YouTube about this. I went down a rabbit hole.
Well, dude, you're right. I mean, in AI and Google, when you Google it, Google says Sinbad never made a movie called Shazam, but many people widely remember seeing one.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, so yeah, and that's actually a good idea. Let me read real quick just Google's write up on it. Many people falsely remember a similar 1990s film, similar to Kazam, titled Shazam, starring
Mhm.
comedian and actor Sinbad as a genie. However, no such film ever existed, and it is possible people are misremembering Kazam as the aforementioned film. Sinbad denied having ever starred in Shazam on Twitter. Here's the thing: people people will tell you who remember this movie will tell you that it's not Kazam. And I'm going to give you some anecdotes, but first I'm going to read some comments about this.
Mhm.
This is what someone this is what someone on YouTube said. I remember watching Shazam as a child. Sinbad was the genie. Two kids' mom died and the father needed help, so he moved in with his parents for help. The kids went up in the attic looking through the remains. Sinbad began to help the kids to try to get past the mom's death. She goes on to like name all these different like plot details. Here's another comment. I remember thinking it was weird that there were two separate movies about black genies with basically the same plot and basically the same name. It happened. I watched Shazam and Kazam as a kid. Dude, I saw a comment, I can't find it right now, but I saw a comment that said it was a guy basically saying, like, "I had this we had this VHS, and our daughter used to wear that thing out, like, would watch it once a day." And he said he asked his wife about it, and she was like, "Oh my god, yeah, like, it happened." Like, dude, what is going on? Because there's here's the thing. Well, let me actually give you this first. So, my parents obviously lived through the '90s. I asked my parents about it. My dad said it sounded familiar. He
Mhm.
remembers the one with,
I
Shaq.
have no idea. Like this doesn't apply to me.
Yeah. My mom said she definitely remembers there being a movie about a genie starring Sinbad. Dude, I asked my girlfriend about it. I told my girlfriend about this.
Mhm.
Dude, she calls her dad. This is a few days ago. She calls her dad
Mhm.
and she says, "Dad, do you remember a movie from the '90s called Shazam starring Sinbad as a
Mhm.
genie?" And he
Mhm.
said, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, with Sinbad." And she was like, and I said to her, "Make sure it's not the one with Shaquille O'Neal." She says, "So is it was it you're sure it wasn't the one with Shaquille O'Neal?" Her dad goes, "Nope, no. There was one with Shaquille O'Neal, and then there was one with Sinbad."
Hmm.
I mean, dude, this is insane. And dude, she said to her dad, she said, "It doesn't exist." And her dad goes, "Well, it used to."
You know what the funny thing is? Because I've been looking this up as you're talking about it. Um, there's like a IMDb. There's a whole like Mandela Effect subreddit. People talking about it, just kind of being like what was going on? Was it because of Kassam? A bunch of
Yeah.
people in the comments, just like your experience, and just like the things going on with when you ask your family and when you ask your girlfriend. Um, there's a bunch of people just saying like I swear, like somebody said I'm 41. I remember it as well. I hated it. It was a terrible fucking movie. Just found out that it never existed. WTF is that? So people are just mass confusion. And then somebody on IMDb, on some like fake Shazam thing that they put on IMDb called "We Found Sinbad's Shazam Genie Movie." um, they commented saying mass gaslighting. Basically, this is somebody saying that the government erased that, but it actually existed.
Oh, mass gaslighting. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
instead of ghost for
Yeah, I
whatever
mean,
it is.
so let me go into what the explanations for this are, that people have cited. Right. So people talk about, so Sinbad was a big actor in the '90s. Um, apparently, I had never actually never heard of this guy until this Mandela Effect thing. Until I learned about this, I'd never heard of Sinbad. Um, but apparently, so in the '90s, you had a few things that sort of that probably caused people's memory to sort of fill in these gaps in the same way each time. So essentially, first of all, of course, you have the Kazam movie with Shaquille O'Neal, right? 1994, plays a genie. At the same time, Sinbad the comedian actually did dress up in a genie like costume when he presented a TNT marathon of Sinbad the Sailor movies. Um, so people remember, they know that image, right? Sinbad, the name Sinbad, we already associate that with like genies and jinn and stuff like that. And then alongside that, there was also a Hanna-Barbera cartoon called Shazam with an N at the end, I believe. I don't know how much that one really plays into it, but people have cited that as just like a similar kind of word, like maybe filling in people's memories. And then someone on Reddit did bring up a good point. They said, you go into you see all that, right? Maybe you saw the Shazam cartoon as a kid. Then maybe you saw Sinbad dressed up like a genie, right? Presenting the Sinbad the Sailor movies. Then maybe you go into a blockbuster, right? And you see Kazam on the shelf, and right next to it were the one or two family comedies that Sinbad was in at the same time, right? and then your memory just fills in those gaps. Because to kind of like, you know, we've been steel manning this the whole time talking about people's memories, but to sort of like attack it a little bit, to offer some pushback, one thing is that one thing that's noteworthy is nobody can really seem to recall the exact plot of this movie. There's a lot of conflicting kind of stuff. Some of it lines up. I mean, some people are saying the same things, right? Like the kids, the brother and sister finding the genie lamp in the attic. That seems to be a common trend. But I for one, after going down this rabbit hole, have seen multiple different accounts, right, of what the plot allegedly was. Also, and this is the most obvious problem, no one can produce a copy of this. If people had this on VHS, there would be a copy. That you can't just get rid of a film, hard copies of a movie, you know, unless the government's gaslighting us, right? They sent secret agents to steal shitty
Dude,
VHS
the
comedies out of people's houses.
the only other solution is that we just live in a simulation, and then they just kind of deleted it from the simulation, and it just evaporated. They just press delete Shazam,
Yeah,
with Sinbad, and then our world is
right.
is immaterial. Everything's just kind of woozy in the air.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Because it's yeah. I mean, the amount of I will say, the more you go down this rabbit hole, the more it feels that way. Where it's like the more it feels like those people, those physicists who have that giant freaking particle accelerator and wherever the hell in the US have been meddling with the fabric of our universe. Like, I mean, but I really think the more likely explanation here, like I am a skeptic, and one of the best one of the best pieces of advice I could give people who are sort of like on the line with this stuff, or like on the fence, I should say, with these kinds of things, not knowing whether to believe in, whatever it might be, like conspiracy theories, simulations, ghosts, aliens, whatever it is. The best course of action until sufficient evidence is provided for the claim to reject the greater miracle. I think it was like David Hume who said that. I think he was like a philosopher or something. Um, when you're looking at two plausible explanations or multiple plausible explanations, you want to see which one is more miraculous, and then you want to reject the greater miracle, right? So, is it more miraculous, right, in this scenario that, you know, physicists have been meddling with the fabric of the universe, or that the government erased this movie, or
Yeah,
that the movie somehow got lost and every single copy was misplaced?
yeah,
Or is it more miraculous that people just misremembered, they associate Sinbad with genies, they're getting it mixed up with the Kazam movie, and that people are just getting things mixed up,
yeah. I
right?
think, yeah, 100%. I think people sometimes just have an unwillingness to be like. Sometimes you think Jackie Chan is Jet Li,
Right, right,
it's Jackie Chan. No, it's Jet Li, bro. I think that's kind of what's
yeah,
going on. Is like, it's Shaquille O'Neal. It's Sinbad, and it's it is Shaquille O'Neal. I think that really is.
yeah,
I think that's like the more because that happens so much, with people just thinking like, oh, that person was in the movie, that wasn't that guy. It was like that dude that interviewed Samuel L. Jackson, and he was like, "Oh, here we have, Lawrence Fishburne," and it's like,
yeah,
no,
yeah,
it's Samuel L. Jackson.
yeah, yeah.
I think there's a likelihood of that being what happened
Mhm.
here, and not that the government
Well,
erased the Sinbad Shazam movie
no,
because that's the movie that was really going to create the revolution.
right.
Yeah.
Well, so here's the thing too. I This brings up a good point. I really think this is a good example of. I really think our society has utterly failed on educating people on just how faulty our memory is.
Mhm.
You know, I
Mhm.
really don't think a lot of I really don't think most people actually grasp how unreliable memory is. We revere human memory as like, no, 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 I remember, you know, and it's like, man, people get confused. You would be amazed. And that's a whole nother rabbit hole, but you would be amazed at the things people misremember and get
Yes.
confused.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, just the false memories people have, the just so it really doesn't matter how many YouTube comments and Reddit comments that you see of people typing in all caps, you know, "I swear to God, I assure you this movie was real," you know, it's like,
Mhm.
it really doesn't matter. And
Mhm.
and I'm kinda disappointed because I feel like the logical side of me has taken over. I think it's a little more fun to be like, "Dude, oh my god, what the fuck's going on?" It makes for better podcasting. And I will say it is crazy. I mean, it is wild. I mean, here's another Reddit comment. I watched this movie without a doubt.
Mhm.
I don't remember any clear scenes, but I clearly remember being very disappointed in the movie and all the damn commercials. Um, Someone else said, "I remember this movie very well. My neighbors had it on VHS and we watched it all the time."
Sure they
They
did.
also had Kazam with Shaq,
Uh-huh.
and we watched both frequently.
Mm.
Her little brother was a toddler at the time, and he got stuck on a kick where he wanted to watch this movie 24/7. So you can't tell me it never existed. I saw it more times than I cared to. I mean, you know, um, and you know, you could say like some of these people are making things up, but with hundreds to thousands of these comments, you have to take people at you have to take people's word for it. You don't want to, and when I say that, there's a caveat. It doesn't mean you believe what they're saying is factual, but you generally want to believe that people are attempting to relay what they believe happened to
Right.
you, what they honestly think they remember,
Right.
you know?
Right.
Because it's never helpful to just call people liars. You know, there are some people that outright make shit up, but I would say it seems to me more times than not people are, you know, whether it's a Bigfoot sighting or a UFO sighting or whatever, it's ghost experience, haunted houses, you know, it's people honestly trying to relay their experience. And yeah, man, I thought this was a good Mandela effect for film tangents because, you know, it's a it's a movie that never existed that people swear did. But this is gonna be fun. I'm gonna keep asking people. My new thing is gonna be every person that I know
Yeah.
who lived through the '90s, the next time I see them, I'm gonna
Sinbad
ask them
thing.
about this movie
Yeah.
and see what they say.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask that question around a little bit too. Yeah, yeah, especially because for this podcast, we're watching a movie that I feel like people probably wish didn't exist. Probably the actors in this movie probably go like, "I wish that movie didn't exist," and it's
Yeah,
Madame Web.
right, yeah, 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 and we'll get into that, in a couple minutes here, folks, but I just wanna say real quick too, I did find it when my girlfriend called her dad
Mhm,
and just it was like clockwork. It was like he there was no hesitation in his voice either, dude. I
mhm.
mean, he didn't have to think about
It's
it
like,
for
yeah,
a
we saw
fucking
that movie.
second.
Yeah.
I mean, it was literally like, "Dad, did you watch such and such a movie with this actor?" "Yeah." That was how it was. I mean, it was like there was no hesitation, you know? And, yeah, cool conspiracy, man. Kinda it's a that's a fun one.
Yeah,
And I'm telling you, if you know, for the people listening who if this is your first time hearing about this and it interests you, I'm just warning you, you're gonna go down some rabbit holes on
yeah.
this
Leave a
because it's
comment. Like, if you're listening to
yeah.
this and you're somebody who got shook at those 5 seconds when Jake said that, leave a comment and tell us about your experience. Um, yeah, and let
Mhm.
us know about other Mandela effects that you guys may know about, and we'll discuss them.
Yeah, for sure. Especially movie related ones, but all of them are welcome because most of them have to do with some form of media anyway.
Yeah,
Um, Otherwise, they wouldn't be mass false memories.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll probably splice this portion into a clip too, just so we can get more, you know, testimony in there and see what people remember.
Yeah, yeah,
But
100%.